光芒啊。
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Gajaranandana Yashodanandana Yamunajira Vanachari Yamunajira Vanachari Jai Gora Hari Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagratam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Hare Krishna. So
Hare
thank
Krishna.
you everyone for coming.
好多謝各位嚟臨。
Normally on a Monday morning, everyone is busy in the material world.
星期一嘅早上咧，每個人都喺呢個物質世界好忙碌嘅。
For all of you who have come here, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
咁而你哋咧係咁賞面嚟到咧，咁好多謝。
So today I will share some ideas with you about how we can go deeper in Krishna consciousness.
咁今日我會同各位分享咧，就係我哋點樣可以咧係喺Krishna 知覺裏邊咧係進入深一層。
Krishna consciousness is like the ocean.
咁我哋 Krishna 知覺咧就好似個海洋咁。
Some people they like to look at the ocean from the side, just from the watching everyone else from the beach.
咁有啲人咧去到海灘咧就係中意睇下海灘上面嘅人群。
Then some people like the ocean, they just put their little bit of their foot inside the water, little bit only.
咁有啲人去到海洋咧，就會只係攞隻腳咧係掂一掂啲水嘅啫。
Then some people like the ocean, they swim in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by the ocean.
咁有啲人去到海洋咧，就會中意喺海洋中心咧，俾啲海洋水圍住咁去游水。
But some people dive into the ocean and go to the bottom.
但係有啲人咧就會中意潛落去水底。
And he said that if you go to the bottom of the ocean, then there are many, many jewels.
咁聽講咧，如果我哋去到海洋底咧，我哋就會見到好多好多嘅珠寶嘅。
So in the same way, people interact with Krishna consciousness on different levels.
咁同樣地咧，咁我哋每個人接觸 Krishna 知覺咧，都係喺唔同嘅層面。
Some people like Krishna, but they are watching from the side for many years.
咁有啲人咧都好中意 Krishna 嘅，咁但係佢哋喺遠距離咁樣觀看 Krishna。
And then some people try a little bit. Yes, I will chant one round.
咁有啲人咧就試下啦，佢話好啦，我念一圈啦。
And then some swim. They do everything, but still they are on the surface.
咁有啲人咧就努力嘗試，佢哋都會喺海洋水裏邊游水嘅，但係咧佢哋只係做少少服務嘅啫。
Externally, they are surrounded by everything spiritual, but still on the surface.
咁外在嚟講咧，佢哋其實係包圍晒所有嘅 Krishna 知覺嘅服務嘅，但係佢哋仍然都停留喺好表面嘅啫。
And then a rare few individuals, they will go deep. And they will find the real jewels.
有啲好稀有嘅咧，就會進入深一層咧，去尋求嗰啲珠寶。
So the ancient teachers of bhakti, they teach us how to go deeper and deeper if we desire to go.
咁我哋遠古嘅靈性先師咧，就教我哋點樣去越進越深入去呢個海洋嗰度。
So like this, there are different scriptures within our traditions.
咁就係咁樣咧，我哋啲經典咧就有好多唔同嘅經典俾我哋去參考。
The Bhagavad Gita, the other day I was describing, is like a jewel box, and it explains that the real jewel is bhakti, devotion.
咁博家梵歌咧就好似個珠寶箱咁樣啦，佢就教我哋咧係咩叫做奉愛。
So therefore Krishna will say, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Krishna will say there are many yogis, but the one who has bhakti or the one who has love, that yogi is the highest.
咁 Krishna 咧就話啦，有好多瑜伽師嘅，但係嗰啲瑜伽師如果係有奉愛咧。有愛咧，佢哋就係最高階嘅。
So Bhagavad Gita establishes bhakti as the ultimate goal of life.
博家梵歌咧就建立咗咧係奉愛咧，就係我哋嘅最終嘅呢個奉愛嘅生活。
But then books like Srimad Bhagavatam, they show you by example devotees who have love.
博家雅談咧就展示出啲例子，話俾我哋聽奉愛嗰啲奉獻者點樣用愛咧嚟去展示佢哋嘅靈性生活。
Prahlad has great love for the Lord.
咁例如Prahlad Maharaja 咧對主咧就係有好深嘅愛。
Kings like Ambarish, Parikshit have great love for the Lord.
咁而Parishit Maharaj 啦，同埋Ambarish Maharaj 咧，亦都係對主咧係有好深嘅愛。
Sages like Narad Muni have so much love for the Lord.
咁聖人啦，例如 Narada Muni 咧，亦都係對主咧係懷有好深嘅愛。
And ultimately, the gopis of Vrindavan have so much love for Krishna.
咁當然最終極咧就係嗰啲牧牛姑娘啦，佢哋就係有最高階嘅愛對主。
It said that one day all the gopis came together and they were asking each other, "What did you dream about Krishna last night?"
咁有一日咧，牧牛姑娘咧就聚埋一齊咧，然後咧就互相詢問咧：你尋晚發夢見到 Krishna 做緊乜嘢啊？
So they all began to tell each other what they dreamt about Krishna, but Srimati Radharani was very quiet.
咁佢哋咧就互相咧係講出自己尋晚點樣去同 Krishna 咧喺夢中啦。咁但係 Srimati Radharani 咧就保持緘默。
So they asked Radharani, "Why are you quiet? What did you dream about Krishna last night?"
咁佢哋就問 Radharani 啦：點解你咁靜嘅？你琴晚發夢同 Krishna 係點樣啊？
So Radharani, she looked down and she said, "Dream about Krishna? Dream about Krishna? I couldn't dream about Krishna all night. I was thinking about Krishna. I couldn't even get to sleep."
咁佢就答啦，佢話：發夢見 Krishna， 發夢見 Krishna， 冇喎，因為我成晚都係諗緊 Krishna， 我都瞓唔着喎。
So they are always manmana, pavamadbhakto, always thinking of Krishna.
所以佢哋就係咁樣咧，成日都係講及關於 Krishna。
So Gita establishes devotion, and then the Bhagavatam shows us what does that devotion look like when someone has it in their heart.
咁所以博家梵歌咧就建立咗呢個奉愛啦，而博家雅談咧就係話俾我哋聽，如果我哋有呢份奉愛咧，我哋就係會點樣嘅。
But then we may ask, how do I develop that devotion? So then the Goswamis, they write books on the science of how to awaken devotion in your heart.
咁跟住咧就係話你會問啦，我點樣至可以發展出呢份奉愛咧？咁我哋所有嘅靈性導師咧就寫咗好多書咧，就話俾我哋聽，我哋就應該點樣做。
So therefore Rupa Goswami writes, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sindhu means the ocean. Bhakti Rasamrita means the nectar, nectarian devotion.
咁 Rupa Goswami 咧就寫本書咧就係叫做奉愛嘅甘露，奉愛的甘露之油。
So in this book, Rupa Goswami explains all the different activities that if you do them, then you will awaken devotion in your heart.
咁裏邊咧就寫咗所有嘅活動咧，咁如果你跟隨進行呢啲活動咧，你就會喚醒你內心嘅奉愛嘅心。
And then after Rupa Goswami, different teachers come and they explain what is the step-by-step progress that you can see in your life on the way to devotion.
咁跟住啲靈性導師咧，就逐步咁樣咧，就話俾我哋聽，你喺生命之中咧點樣可以一路個進程咧係點樣可以進步。
So everything is there, everything has been given to us if we want to awaken love for Krishna.
咁所以咧係萬事俱備㗎啦。如果你想喚醒自己對 Krishna 嘅愛咧，係有好多嘅資訊嘅。
Love is not random. Love is something that you have to try to cultivate.
咁愛咧唔係隨意嘅，唔係隨意有嘅，你係要去培養出嚟嘅。
And so if we study all of these books, first we understand what is devotion, then we understand what does devotion look like, then we understand what are the activities which awaken devotion, then we understand what is the step-by-step transformation. Sorry.
咁首先咧，我哋就知道咩叫做奉愛先。咁跟住咧，我哋就要知道奉愛係點樣嘅。然後跟住我哋就會得到一啲程序，一步一步點樣去做。最後咧，我哋就係
transformation, the transformation that goes on in the heart.
咁跟住我哋會認識到咧，我哋一步一步咁樣做嘅時候咧，我哋嘅內心就點樣咧係一路咁樣轉化。
Is it clear? Any questions on this?
咁到呢度有冇問題？
Simple.
好簡單係咪？
Now you just have to go home and read.
咁你而家只需要翻屋企睇呢啲書就得㗎啦。
Then all the information is here that you require. Nothing is missing.
你需要知道嘅信息咧已經齊備晒㗎啦，係冇嘢遺漏到。
All right? So, the final one I was talking about is what is the transformation that happens in the heart as one moves towards pure love for Krishna.
咁所以我而家咧就會講最後嗰個程序啦，就係我哋內心嘅轉化，我哋內心嘅轉變咧係引領我哋咧去到 Krishna 嗰一度。
So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there are two verses which are quoted by Rupa Goswami.
咁喺奉愛甘露滋養奉愛的甘露滋養咧，Rupa Goswami 就引咗兩節詩嘅。
And another teacher called Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes these two verses and he writes a whole book on these two verses.
咁我哋另一位導師咧 ，Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur 咧，就攞咗呢兩首詩咧，就寫咗成本書咁厚。
So the verses are go like this.
節詩就咁嘅。
Ado Shraddha Tatha Sadhu Sangotha Bhajana Kriya Anartha Nivritti Sya Tato Nishtha Ruchistatha Atha Shaktis Tato Bhavas Kamalo Badayaschaye Cheta Etarana Vidam Stitam Sattve Bhakti Prashidati. So in these two verses, Rupa Goswami says there are 9 stages from when you begin Krishna consciousness to when you perfect Krishna consciousness.
咁喺呢兩節詩裏邊咧 ，Rupa Goswami 就描述咗嗰個唔同嘅階段啊，由你開始進入 Krishna 知覺，直至到你去到最完美嘅階段。
So he said, first step is Ado Shraddha. You have to have faith.
第一個階段就係你需要有信心咯。
Everyone puts faith in something in this world.
我哋每個人咧喺呢個世界都會即係對某一啲嘢咧係會產生信心嘅。
But the moment when you start looking at the world and you say, I don't have so much faith in material things anymore, maybe I should put my faith in something spiritual.
咁但係當你即係環顧呢個物質世界咧，你發覺咧你對呢個物質世界咧已經冇乜嘢係俾到你信心㗎，咁所以你就開始話，或者我咧要開始進入一啲靈性嘅事物嗰度。
So the moment you have this faith is the moment you begin your spiritual life.
咁當你一有呢個思想嘅時候咧，你嘅靈性生活就開始啦。
If you have more faith, then you can go further. And if your faith is very, very strong, then you can experience much.
咁如果你嘅信心越嚟越大，或者越嚟越強嘅時候咧，你對靈性嘅經驗咧就會越嚟越深。
So once you have faith, then the next thing that happens is what?
如果有咗信心之後，下一個階段係乜嘢？
What is the next step on the journey after one has faith in spiritual life? What is the next thing that they begin doing?
咁喺我哋靈修嘅
This
路
is the
途
very
上，
dangerous one.
第二個階段係乜嘢？
Sadhu Sangha.
就係同奉獻者聯誼啦。
Sadhu means excellent person, a spiritual person.
咁沙圖嘅意思咧就係一個最優秀嘅人，一啲靈修上面最優秀嘅人。
A sadhu is not just a sannyasi or a swami or a renunciate. A sadhu is anyone who is engaged in spiritual life with determination.
咁沙圖嘅意思咧，唔單止係講啲托缽僧啊、聖人啊咁樣，其實沙圖嘅意思咧就係話講嗰啲咧喺靈修上面咧好有決心嘅人。
So if you begin associating with spiritual people, then immediately your heart begins to change.
如果你能夠同呢啲靈修上面好有決心嘅人聯誼咧，你嘅內心咧就會立刻改變。
Once the devotees, they were, I think it was in Australia, they were doing Harinam and they got arrested by the police.
咁有一次咧，澳洲有一啲人咧去 Harinam， 但係佢就俾警察拉咗佢。
So the police put them in jail, but in the jail, what did the devotees start doing? Harinam.
咁啲警察咧就拉咗佢哋坐監啦。咁佢哋喺監獄做乜嘢啊？就係喺度 Harinam 啦。
Now in jail, all the other prisoners were also participating in Harinam. So the jail became chanting, dancing, singing, laughing, smiling.
咁而家個監獄咧就變咗 Harinam 嘅場地啦。咁所有嘅監犯咧都喺度唱歌啦、跳舞啦、念誦啦，喺度好開心啊咁樣啦。
So the policeman came, he said, "You guys get out of here, you're more dangerous inside than outside."
咁啲警察就嚟到咯喎，佢話：你呢班人啊，出去啦，快啲走啦！你哋喺呢度喺裏邊咧，仲危險過喺出邊啊！
So the devotees, they have a powerful Shakti energy.
咁所以其實奉獻者咧有一啲好強大嘅能量嘅。
And by their association, things change.
咁透過同佢哋聯誼咧，人係會改變嘅。
So when you associate with the devotees, then very, very soon the next thing will happen. What's the next thing?
咁如果你哋同奉獻者聯誼咧，跟住下一步就出現㗎啦。係乜嘢下一步？
Bhajana Kriya. You start practicing spiritual life. You start doing something.
咁就係開始做奉愛服務啦，你開始做一啲嘢啦。
You can't be with the devotees too long before they start asking you to do something.
你一接觸到奉獻者咧，唔使幾耐咧，佢哋就會叫你做服務。
They will be on your case.
佢哋係會睇住你個個案嘅。
And in English, we have a saying, in like a needle, out like a plow. Understand?
Yeah.
It means come in a very small way and then come out with everything.
咁英文有一句言語咧，就係話入去嗰陣就係好細啊，就好似啲針咁細，但係出嚟咧就好龐大嘅。有好大嘅力量。
So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, when someone takes initiation, then they actually begin bhajana kriya seriously.
咁Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur 佢咁講咧，佢話如果一個人咧一啟迪咗咧，佢哋就會開始好認真咁樣去做奉愛服務嘅。
At one point in life, there will be a point when you meet a great sadhu and you desire to surrender and follow their instructions. And then it said at this point, bhajana kriya begins more seriously.
咁跟住咧，你就會接觸一位咧係好高階嘅靈性導師，你就會開始更加認真咧咁去修習。
So once you perform bhajana kriya, then the next thing that starts happening is anartha nivritti. The heart starts to be cleaned.
咁你一開始好認真咁做奉愛服務之後咧，下一步咧就係話你就開始咧係淨化你嘅內心。
Once someone came to me, he said, "I've been chanting for 2 months. I need to stop now."
咁曾經有人嚟對我講喎，佢話我念誦咗2個月啦，我諗我而家要停啦。
So I said to him, "Why? What's the problem? Why you need to stop?"
咁我就問佢啦，點解啊？有咩問題啊？點解你要停咧？
He said, "Ever since I started chanting, I'm becoming a terrible person."
咁佢就同我講，佢話我一開始咗念誦嘅時候咧，我就變得好可怕，變咗一個好可怕嘅人。
He said, "Ever since I started chanting, I'm seeing that I have so much anger, so much envy, so much lust and greed."
佢話我一開始念誦嘅時候咧，我就發覺我自己係原來咁憤怒嘅， 咁貪婪嘅，咁有咁多色欲心嘅。
I told him, don't worry, it was always there.
咁我就同佢講啦，唔使擔心嘅，成日都係咁嘅。
But when you begin cleaning the heart, then you actually begin to see that I'm not as nice as I thought I was.
所以當你喺度淨化緊自己內心嘅過程咧，你就發覺自己咧原來唔係你原本諗自己係咁好嗰個人嚟嘅。
So therefore, as we begin to clean the heart, then we recognize that there are many anarthas. Anartha means unwanted things in the heart.
所以當我哋喺度開始淨化我哋嘅內心嘅時候咧，咁呢啲我哋唔想要嘅東西咧就會走出嚟㗎啦。
So this is the hardest part of Krishna consciousness, to make the heart clean.
咁呢個就係Krishna 知覺嘅其中一個過程嚟嘅，我哋就係要淨化我哋嘅內心。最困難嘅過程。係，亦都係最困難嘅過程嚟嘅。
It takes so much time to overcome lust, anger, envy of others.
我哋其實係需要咧係花好多時間咧去克服我哋內心嘅貪婪啊、憤怒啊同埋色欲。
Like one man, he was told by the genie, you can have anything you want, but your neighbor will get double.
Your neighbor?
Neighbor.
哦。OK。咁咧，即係你會得到好多啦，但係你嘅鄰居咧就會得到你雙倍咁多嘅。
So he didn't hear the second bit so much, he just heard you get whatever you want.
咁佢就聽唔到第二部分，冇留心，佢只係聽到第一部分。
So he said, I want a 5-story house. Boom.
咁佢就話啦，佢首先咧就話，我希望有一間5層樓咁高嘅屋。
But then he looked out of the window and his neighbor had 10.
咁然後佢望出去隔離鄰居咧，佢發覺鄰居嗰一間屋咧仲高，有10層樓嘅。
Said, I want this beautiful car. Boom.
咁跟住佢就想話，我要一架好靚嘅車。咁呢架車又出現咗啦。
But then as he was going into that car, he looked and his neighbor had 2.
咁當佢走入佢坐入佢架車嘅時候咧，佢發覺佢嘅鄰居咧有2架車。
He became so envious, he said, I want to go blind in one eye.
咁佢跟住就話啦，我想盲咗一隻眼。
This is envy.
呢個就係出於妒忌啊。
So these qualities are deep within our heart. Sometimes it's so hard to see when someone else is successful.
咁呢啲就係我哋內心充滿咗嘅唔想要嘅東西。有陣時我哋係因為覆蓋咁深，我哋睇唔到。
So eventually when we clean the heart, all of these qualities disappear.
但係喺我哋淨化內心嘅過程中咧，呢啲所有我哋唔想要嘅東西咧，就會慢慢消除。
And then once anartha nivritti is majority completed, then one reaches the stage of nishtha.
咁當我哋淨化內心到差唔多嘅時候咧，大部分嘅唔想要嘅嘢都冇啦，咁我哋就去到呢個 nishtha 呢個階段就係穩定。
Sta means to stay.
Sta 嘅意思就係停留。
Like if you look at all English words which begin with st, stop, stay, stagnant, stand. Can you see? They all have the same sense of being in one place.
咁英文嗰啲用 st 嚟砌成嘅字咧，都有一個停止或者停留嘅意思嘅。正如好似頭先舉例啦，stand 企喺度 ，stop 停止，係嘛？即係可以舉好多呢啲例，都有同樣嘅意思，就係停留。
So nishtha means you become very steady, no more ups and downs, very fixed on Krishna.
咁所以 nishtha 咧就係好穩定啦。我哋唔會再喺度遊蕩啊！我哋對 Krishna 咧係好專注噶啦。
And then after this stage, then one begins to taste. what is actually Krishna consciousness. This is known as ruchi.
咁跟住咧個階段就係去到品味啦，我哋就係品嚐 Krishna。
Like Rupa Goswami says, I do not know how much nectar is contained within the 2 syllables Krishna.
咁 Rupa Goswami 曾經講咧，佢話我都唔知道喺 Krishna 呢兩個音節裏邊咧係包含咗有幾多嘅甘露喺度。
He says, when I hear the 2 syllables, I desire thousands of tongues, thousands of ears. And when those 2 syllables enter into the courtyard of my heart, then they conquer my consciousness. It's poetry. Sorry.
所以有一節詩咧就係話，當呢兩個字咧即係發出嘅時候咧，即係有好多嘅甘露係征服咗我嘅內心。
Then after the taste increases for Krishna more and more, then one becomes attached.
咁當我哋對 Krishna 嘅品味咧係越來越多嘅時候咧，我哋就去到呢個依附呢個階段。
So now one cannot live without Krishna. They become addicted.
咁去到呢個階段咧，一個人咧就唔可以係冇咗 Krishna 啦喺佢生活之中，佢變咗好似上咗癮咁樣，對 Krishna 上咗癮。
And then once it goes deeper, then it becomes bhav, emotion.
咁再進一步咧，我哋就去到呢個bhava啦，就係狂喜啊。
So Rupa Goswami explains, you will know in bhav because there will be different characteristics in your consciousness.
咁你去到 bhava 呢個階段咧，狂喜咧，你個意識裏邊咧就係有好多種唔同嘅徵象。
Sometimes one day you may wake up and chant some good rounds and you may think, yes, I am in bhav, feeling.
咁可能你有一日醒咗，然後念誦，你個感覺係十分之好咧，咁你就好開心，你話我有 bhava 啦，我有狂喜啦。
So how do you know you're in bhav? Kshantir avyartha kalatvam viraktir manashunyata ashabandha samutkantha namagane sadaruchi ashaptistad gunakhyane pritistad vasati stale ityadayo nubhavashur jata bhavan kure jane. So Rupa Goswami gives many characteristics by which you can understand if you're in bhav.
咁 Rupa Goswami 咧俾咗描述咗好多嘅徵象俾我哋咧，讓我哋知道我哋係咪進入咗 bhava 呢個階段。
First one, Kshantir, incredible level of forgiveness.
第一個咧就係無可倫比嘅一個原諒嘅心髓。
In your mind, do you still hold some grudge towards someone? Some enmity? Some bad feeling towards someone?
你內心係咪仲有保留咗些少嘅對人嘅敵意啊、嫉妒啊，即係呢啲咁嘅負面嘅情緒咧？
Then, sorry, not yet.
咁唔好意思啦，你仲未到呢個階段。
Avyartha kalatvam. One in bhava doesn't want to waste one moment of time. No time wasting. Can't stand to waste time.
咁另外一個跡象咧，就係徵象，就係話一個人喺呢個階段咧，佢係唔想浪費一分一秒嘅。
The Goswamis, they were so advanced that sometimes they forgot to eat and sometimes they forgot to sleep.
咁所以個 Swami 咧，佢哋係進步到咧，佢哋有陣時根本就忘記咗食飯同埋瞓覺。
Virakti, when you're in bhav, you're completely detached from any attraction to material things.
所以喺 bhava 呢個階段咧，你根本對任何物質嘅事物咧，你已經冇晒吸引力㗎啦，對你嚟講。
Manashunyata. When you are in bhav, you have no sense of pride.
咁喺呢個階段咧，你冇絲毫嘅驕傲嘅感覺嘅。
Ashabandha, when you're in bhav, you have incredible hope. One feels, I am very fallen, but Krishna is so kind. Therefore, I have a strong hope that I will make it.
咁喺呢個階段咧，你就有好強烈嘅希望嘅。你明知道自己係咁低墮，但係你亦都有一個好強烈嘅信心同埋希望咧，知道 Krishna 咧係會拯救你。
Samutkantha means incredible eagerness and enthusiasm to perform spiritual activities.
亦都會有無比嘅熱誠啦，同埋毅力咧去做呢個靈性嘅活動嘅。
Namagane Sadaruchi means that when one begins talking about Krishna's name, fame, qualities, they cannot stop. Addicted.
咁跟住咧，佢嘅表現咧就係話，當佢一開始講 Krishna 嘅提子嘅時候咧，佢嘅名字啊、佢嘅品質啊、佢嘅逍遙時光咧，佢就唔停得落嚟㗎啦。
Pritistad vasati stale means that one desires deeply only to live in Krishna's holy land.
咁佢亦都咧係深深咁咧渴望住咧係能夠喺 Krishna 嘅國度嗰度咧生活。
The only reason to be anywhere else in the world is because you have some service for Krishna. Otherwise, why would I live anywhere else? I would only live in Vrindavan.
咁除咗 Vrindavan 之外，你仲有咩地方係想去居住嘅咧？除非嗰度係有服務俾你做。
Sometimes people have a T-shirt. I lost my heart in Vrindavan.
我哋見到有啲人咧着住 T-shirt 咧，就係話我嘅心咧係已經俾 Vrindavan 偷咗去。
So just in case you think you're in path, these are the 8 characteristics.
咁如果你真係諗自己係咪已經去到 Pava 呢個階段咧，狂喜呢個階段咧，咁呢8種嘅徵象咧，你就可以測試一下自己。
And then once bhav reaches its climax, then it becomes pure love of God.
咁你當你嘅狂喜呢一種嘅狀況咧，已經去到巔峰嘅時候咧，咁你就達到最高呢個純粹啦，對神嘅純粹嘅愛。
So love for Krishna is not so cheap. Love for Krishna unfolds stage by stage. And if one wants to develop love for Krishna, then they have to make special effort.
所以咧，對神嘅愛咧唔係咁廉價嘅，你係要即係做好多嘢嘅。
These stages are also overlapping.
咁呢啲唔同嘅階段係啦，我哋要有咁多個階段要去進行啦。而每一個階段咧，有陣時咧係會重疊嘅。
So sometimes someone at Bhajana Kriya, they are also experiencing some ruchi.
咁有啲人即係當你喺 Bhajana Kriya 嗰個階段，即係第3個階段，你做緊奉愛服務嘅時候咧，可能你都會品嚐到少少嘅品味㗎啦。
And someone who is at the stage of ruchi is still that they are doing some anartha nivriti because they're not completely pure yet.
咁當你就算係開始品嚐到少少嘅品味嘅時候咧，可能你仍然都仲係有一啲內心嘅唔想要嘅東西仲有喺度。
But according to the prominent stage of where you are focusing, that determines where you are on this journey.
咁當然啦，你個即係你嘅表現最明顯喺某一個階段嘅時候咧，你就係展示你達到某一個階段喺呢個旅程裏邊。
All right, any questions on this?
喺呢個有冇問題啊
？You mentioned anatta nivriti is probably the hardest stage, and it's also easy to give up. Devotees sometimes they give up. Most often they give up at this stage because it's so painful and so long. So, do you have any tips that we can maintain this stage without, quitting prematurely?
咁頭先Maharaja 講第4個階段啦，即係話清除內心嘅不想要嘅東西嘅時候咧，呢、個階段係最困難嘅，最困難嘅。咁亦都可能有啲人咧發覺即係太難啦，即係佢哋覺得就會有個傾向係放棄嘅。咁有冇啲 tips 可以教我哋點樣去克服呢一個階段？
Spiritual life is difficult, but material life is impossible.
咁靈修嘅生活咧係好困難啊，但係物質嘅生活咧根本就冇可能嘅。
One time a devotee said to me, you only have 2 options. Either you become a happy devotee or you be a miserable devotee. But you will have to be a devotee now.
咁有一次奉獻者同我講，佢話你有2個選擇，佢話一係咧你係一個快樂嘅奉獻者，或者咧你係一個即係唔快樂嘅奉獻者，但係咧你一定要成為奉獻者。
In London, we have a joke. We say, joining Krishna consciousness is like joining the mafia. You can't leave because you know too much. Too much information now. You can't leave. You can't forget. You can't be a materialist again.
咁喺英國咧，我哋有一句説話咧，就係話你參加咗 Krishna 知覺咧，你就好似加入咗黑手黨咁樣，你唔可以離開㗎啦，因為你知得太多啦，你唔可以翻轉頭。
You can try now to go out and enjoy, or try to go to some party, or try to experience some material enjoyment, and all the while you'll be saying, boring.
你可以試下出去嘅，試下出去參加出邊嗰啲物質嘅活動啊，去下舞會啊，開下 party 啊，或者其他物質嘅活動。但係終於咧，你會發覺咧好悶。
So therefore, we should understand that giving up will not make us happy, but reaching perfection is what will make us happy.
所以最終你會發覺咧，如果你放棄嘅話咧，其實你唔會開心嘅。你致力去達到完美咧，反而先會俾到你快樂。
One thing that really helps is to always keep friendship with those devotees who are experiencing purity in their life.
所以我哋有一樣嘢最重要嘅咧，就係話我哋要同一啲即係已經係有某程度嘅純粹嘅奉獻者保持呢個友誼啊。
Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, Durgame patimaindhasya skalatpada gatermuhu svakripa yastidanena shantashantvaavalambanam. He says, my path is very difficult. I'm slipping again and again, but the stick of the mercy of the Vaishnavas is holding me up.
Rupa Goswami? Who?
Krishnadas Kaviraj.
咁 Krishnadas Kaviraj 就咁講嘅，佢話呢條路途係好艱難嘅，我成日都跣到嘅，我成日都跣低嘅，但係咧嗰支仁慈嗰支棍啊，就不斷咁咧係敲打我，令到我可以繼續落去。
So yes, sometimes we look at our life and we think so far still to go, so far away from purity.
有時我哋觀察我哋嘅靈修生活啦，我哋就發覺哇，仲有好遙遠啊，太遙遠嘅路程我要走啊。
But sometimes we should also look back and say, but I've already come so far from where I was.
但係我哋又要擰轉頭望下喎，你望下咧你就發覺，哇！原來我已經行咗好大段路啦。由我開始嘅時候到而家，我已經行咗好大段路。
So the process is working. We just have to stay in the process.
所以嗰個過程就係話，我哋一路做，我哋就一路停留喺我哋做緊嗰個過程之中。
Is that okay?
Maharaj, when you mentioned in Anartha Nivriti, so during Anartha Nivriti, we want to achieve
we ultimately want to achieve the stage of having no enmity towards others. But something is very challenging. I feel like personally, I'm just talking about myself, but probably for in general also. When someone you look up to, or someone you deem as, your guru, even like sometimes, you look up to someone. They, if they or devotees who are senior to you, and you see, I try to offer all my respects and treat you as a guru, take the dust from your feet, and then they do something, and then you're like, why did you do that? And then you're completely hurt, and then it's very difficult for the mind to accept that and to say, I have no enmity towards you, because I feel like that is a bigger violation than just someone random hurting you,
So when you put your faith in someone and they violate your trust, then how can you not have enmity towards them?
咁個問題咧就係話喺我哋淨化內心嘅過程裏邊咧，我點可以克服我對人嗰種敵意啊？就係話當你對一啲你好信任嘅人，向佢但係佢係令你失望嘅，咁喺呢啲情況之下，我點樣可以做？
The first thing we have to understand is that everyone in the material world has weakness.
咁首先我哋要明白咧，就係話喺物質世界裏邊咧，係每一個人都有佢嘅弱點嘅。
They say we are we are judges when it comes to other people's mistakes, but we are lawyers when it comes to our own mistakes.
咁有個講法咧，就係話，當我哋去批判人哋嘅時候咧，我哋就係法官嚟嘅。但係當我哋睇自己嘅時候咧，我哋就係律師啊，就係為自己辯護啊。
If we measured ourselves by the standards that we hold everyone else to, where would we be?
咁所以咧，我哋應該用一個標準咧，就係話我哋點樣批判人咧，亦都將嗰個標準嚟去批判自己。
So the first thing to understand is that we should try to always see the good in others.
所以我哋要訓練嘅咧，就係話我哋成日都係睇人哋嘅優點。
Someone may do 100 good things, but if they do one bad thing, then that's all we focus on.
咁一個人咧，或者佢已經做咗100種好事，但係只要佢做一件壞事咧，你就只會專注喺佢嗰件壞事身上。
So we should always see things in context.
我哋成日都要咧係睇個背景嚟去認識嗰件事。
The second thing is that we should understand that sometimes we have the capacity also to misunderstand someone.
咁跟住咧就係我哋要知道咧，我哋其實有呢個傾向咧係去誤解啊，對人嘅誤解啊，誤會人。
Once I was on Vrindavan Parikrama, and I saw one old lady, and she was chanting, but she had her bead bag on her left hand. So my critical mind said, doesn't she know? You don't chant on your left hand.
咁有一次我喺面單墳繞拜嘅時候咧，我見到有個女士咧就喺度念誦啦，但係佢用左手揸住個念珠袋嘅。咁我嘅心意即刻就話：佢識唔識念誦㗎？佢知唔知道唔可以用左手去念誦㗎？
And then I did the whole Vrindavan Parikrama, and I came round to the same spot, and she was still sitting there.
咁我行完成個繞拜嘅過程啦，我去到即係頭先嗰個位置啦，成個 round。咁呢個女士咧仍然都仲係坐喺嗰度。
But now she had changed position, and I saw that she didn't have a right hand.
哦，咁佢呢次咧就轉咗個姿勢，咁我先至睇到咧，原來佢係冇咗隻右手嘅。
So we must always be very, very careful, because we are quick to make a judgment, but we don't know what is behind something.
所以我哋要好小心咧，當我哋去判斷一件事嘅時候咧，我哋就要知道，我哋其實好多時都唔知道個背景嘅。
The third thing I would say is that we should always see that there are wonderful examples of devotees who are embodying purity. and we should look to them for inspiration.
咁第三點咧就係話，其實有好多咧係好優秀嘅奉獻者咧，其實佢哋都係仲有一啲嘅雜質嘅。
Even if one person becomes weak and violates our faith, we shouldn't lose faith in the practice of putting faith in someone.
咁所以咧，就算有一啲人因為有一啲弱點而令到你失去信心嘅話咧，咁其實咧我哋就唔應該淨係睇住個弱點，而係咧應該係對靈修咧係有信心嘅，就將我哋嘅信心咧係擺喺正面嘅嘢嗰度。
If someone is sick and they say, yes, but that doctor cheated me, so now I will take the safe option, I won't go to any doctor.
咁如果你生病，咁醫生俾啲藥你食，但係你食咗唔好，你就話個醫生欺騙你，咁你話咧我就永遠都唔會去睇醫生㗎啦。
Well, I'm sorry, you're sick, so that's not the safe option.
咁但係你係病喎，呢個唔係一個好嘅方法嚟嘅喎。
Some thoughts. Yes.
What you just said, I guess, don't lose faith in, everything. And I always learn from it when I have the same thing as Mataji said, you respect some people or you think they are, senior devotees or so forth. And then they keep, maybe it's me, they keep coming at me.
Okay.
Yeah, and a few times I say, I don't have to come here, sort of thing. But then I always then leave, and then some sort of miracle happens that I learn from what has happened, and then I sort of like it deteriorates whatever I felt that it was my wrong understanding. Kind of, I learn from it, and then I sort of get more lifted.
咁我都有一啲頭先 Maharaja 講嘅經驗咧，就係話，即係我都係有試過咧，我對一啲即係我好尊敬佢嘅人咧，係擺咗好多信心喺度，但係佢即係佢嘅行為就令我失望啦有陣時。咁初時我嘅反應咧就係話，我唔再嚟㗎啦，即係我有啲咁嘅經驗。咁但係跟住咧，我自己就去調節我自己就去學習，然後咧就去即係係啦，我就喺內心我自己就慢慢改變咯。
Yes, this is a very powerful point that when something goes wrong in a relationship with someone, we always are looking at that person, but we don't realize that we had to go through that for some reason, and there's something we need to change and learn about ourselves from that.
咁所以呢一點係好重要，就係話，當我哋喺一個關係上邊咧，有一啲係唔順暢嘅時候。咁我哋咧就唔係話淨係睇住嗰一件事發生，淨係專注咗喺嗰個情景、嗰個情節裏邊，而係話咧，我哋需要去揾一啲方法咧，去即係渡過佢啊，解決佢啊，或者自己嘅改變啊，或者係同對方係有啲嘅交流啊咁樣。
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maharaja, I have a question.
Yes.
So this looks like it's sequential in some ways, and it's overlapping, but if you reach stage 4 or stage 5 in this lifetime, in your next lifetime you start at stage 4, you go like stage 1, and it's 1 to 4 faster, and like, how does that work in the Dharma and next life? Because you may not go to all 9 in this life.
咁呢9個程序睇上嚟咧，好似按部就班嘅，一層即係一個跟一個嘅。咁譬如我今生咧去到第4、第5個階段啦，即係我未必可能我一今生咧我可以去到最完美嘅。咁我係咪下一生咧我就係由第5、第6咁開始
？So Krishna, there's 2 perspectives to this. Krishna in the Gita says, Neha Bhikramanashoshti Pratyavayo Navidyate. That any advancement you make on this path is never lost. And in the next life, you will continue on from the point where you left off.
咁我哋可以有兩個方面去睇啦，呢個問題。咁 Krishna 咧喺國家梵歌就講啦，你今生去到即係達到邊一個程度咧，你下一生咧就喺你上一生完結嗰個程度咧，就喺嗰個 point 咧就開始喺嗰一點開始翻。
But then sometimes it's mentioned that if you offend the devotee, then it's like an elephant which comes into a garden and which uproots your devotional creeper.
咁但係另外一個方面咧，就係話，如果你係冒犯咗奉獻者，咁咧呢個冒犯咧就好似一隻瘋狂嘅大笨象咁咧，佢就可以將你所做嘅一切就連根拔起。
So how do we reconcile these two? Is it that whatever advancement you make is preserved, or is it that sometimes you can also go back? Which one is it?
咁我哋點樣去妥協啊？呢兩個講法，咁係咪即係你下一生咧就係由你今生停落嚟嗰一步開始啊？抑或你如果冒犯咗咧，你就完全由頭開始過咧？
So both are true.
嗱，兩個講法都啱嘅。
You're a finance person, so you know. Say, for example, someone has a bank account and they put money in there, but the bank account gets frozen.
咁嗱，你就做財經界嘅，咁譬如你有一個戶口，你擺啲錢落你銀行戶口，咁但係如果你個戶口係俾凍結咗嘅。
Then in one sense, they haven't lost the money, but in another sense, they can't access any of that money.
咁喺呢個情況咧，就係話你啲錢仲喺度，但係你唔攞得嘅。
So therefore, from life to life, whatever devotional progress we make is in the bank balance. We never go back. But if we make an offense, then the bank account may get frozen. And we may lose our taste, and seemingly we feel like we've gone back.
咁如果你喺奉愛生活咧，你所做嘅奉愛服務就好似你嘅銀行戶口一樣，咁就一路係儲存落去。咁但係如果你係冒犯咧，就會即係凍結啦。咁你就好似你係要翻轉頭由頭嚟過咁樣。
Yes.
Is it possible without regulated practice to reach ecstasy sometimes?
Is it possible without regulated practice to achieve ecstasy?
咁有冇可能，如果我哋唔係穩定咁樣係去收集嘅時候咧，我哋都可以得到呢個狂喜啊？
Remember, I mentioned that at every stage you can experience a glimpse of stages which are beyond your current stage. So everyone can experience a glimpse of ecstasy.
咁頭先我講過咧，有啲過程係會重疊嘅，咁所以咧你喺邊個階段咧，你都有可能係會經歷一啲嘅狂喜嘅。
But this kind of bhav or ecstasy can only be really experienced when one has a clean heart.
咁但係我哋講呢個 power 呢個狂喜咧，就只係喺嗰啲咧已經個內心係好純淨、好純潔嘅人咧，先至會出現嘅。
And how can you have a clean heart if you don't clean every day?
咁如果你唔每日都係清洗你嘅內心咧，你點可以有一個好純潔嘅內心咧？
Therefore, sometimes people don't like all of this regulation. Why all these numbers? Why all these goals? Why all these regulations? People don't like it.
咁好多時咧，啲人咧都唔中意咁多呢啲嘅規範守則嘅。點解有咁多數字、咁多圈啦，有咁多嘅目標啊，咁多嘅規範啊咁樣？
One person once he came to the temple and he said, "No more numbers."
有一次有個人咧嚟到廟咧，佢就話唔想再有咁多數字啦。
He said, "When I was young, my parents gave me a number that I should get this much percentage. Then when I went to work, my boss gave me a number. You should earn this much. Then my wife gave me a number. I want this much. And now I come to the temple and you guys give me a number, 16. Where does Krishna say in the Gita chant 16 rounds?
咁有奉獻者咧就嚟到咧就問啊就講啊，我唔想再有呢啲數字啦。我細個嗰陣時咧，我媽媽咧就俾個數字我，就要我達到呢個目標。然後咧我做嘢咧，我個 boss 咧又俾個數字我，要我去賺到呢個數目。跟住咧邊個？我太太咧又俾個數字我，你要俾咁多錢我。咁所以咧嚟到 Krishna 之國咧，你又俾個數字我，又話要16圈。Krishna 幾時講過話要念16圈㗎？
So he said, where does Krishna say chant 16 rounds? Where's which shloka? Show me.
咁佢就質疑佢話：你話俾我聽，俾我睇下 Krishna 喺邊個詩節裏邊話要念16圈嘅？
So I looked at him, I said, Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. You should chant 24 hours a day.
咁我就俾一個詩節佢睇 ，Krishna 咧就話你需要24小時念誦喎。
He said, all right, I'll do 16.
咁佢跟住咧就好啦，我念16圈。
So, if you don't apply yourself every single day, Madhvacharya, he says, I don't judge a person by how much they can do in one day. I judge them by what they do every day.
咁 Maharaja 咧係咁講過，佢話咧我唔會去評論一個人咧係每日做啲乜嘢，但係我會睇佢係咪日日都做嗰啲嘢。
So this is what I'm saying. Many people come to the temple, but they observe Krishna consciousness from the spectators, they observe Krishna consciousness as a spectator, but they don't take up the regulated practice themselves. So then they will only experience some of the ecstasy.
咁所以好多人嚟到咧就係就修 Krishna 之覺啦，佢就當 Krishna 只係一個旁觀者嘅，所以佢哋唔會咁認真修習。如果佢唔認真修習咧，佢只能夠得到好少嘅利益。
Everything in our life required regulation.
我哋生活裏邊咧係好需要，樣嘢都需要我哋係好有規律咁去做嘅。
If you want good health, you have to be regulated.
如果你要有好嘅身體健康咧，你都要好規律咁去生活。
If you want good results at academics, you need to be regulated.
咁你如果讀書想有好嘅成績，你都要好有規律咁去溫習。
If you want to rise in your career, you have to show up every day.
如果你想喺你事業上有進展嘅話，你都要日日出現㗎。
If you want Krishna Prem, it just comes naturally. You have to be regulated.
咁所以如果你話我想對神有純粹嘅愛，但係呢種愛應該好自然出現嘅，咁係唔可能嘅。
So I tell people, studying is hard, but failing is even harder.
咁我同啲學生講，佢話讀書係好辛苦嘅，但係如果肥咗咧係更辛苦嘅，即係考試失敗咧係更辛苦。
Exercising is hard, but falling ill is even harder.
咁我哋每日要去做運動咧，其實都好辛苦嘅，但係如果我哋病咧，其實仲辛苦。
Going to work is hard, but being unemployed is even harder.
日日返工係好辛苦嘅，但係失業仲辛苦。
Being regulated in Krishna consciousness is hard, but not experiencing the ecstasy and feeling regret is even harder.
咁我哋日日都要做呢啲規範守則，即係我哋修習要做呢啲規範守則係好辛苦嘅。但係如果我哋品嚐唔到一啲嘅味道，同埋我哋會感覺係好失望啊，好懊悔咧，呢種感覺係仲辛苦嘅。
So life is hard, but you can choose which hard.
所以其實生活無論如何都係辛苦嘅啦，但係睇你選擇邊種辛苦咯。
Maharaji, in regulated practice,
Mm-hmm.
regulated practice for a beginner will be different from a senior devotee. What is the difference? What is the regulated practice? What does it mean exactly? Is it chanting 16 rounds, sitting in one place, doing the rope in the morning, doing arti? Is that regulated practice? What is exactly regulated practice for a new person?
咁對一個新修習嘅人嚟講咧，係即係何謂呢、個有規律咁去修習啊？即係要做啲乜嘢？對一個新人嚟講
Regulated practice means doing something steadily to cultivate your relationship with Krishna.
咁首先咧個意思咧就係話我哋有規律咁去做一啲嘢咧，係培養對 Krishna 嘅關係。
So in the beginning, I tell people, give the first day of the week to Krishna. Come to the temple on a Sunday, every Sunday.
咁我對啲新人講咧就話頭一個禮拜咧，你係俾咗 Krishna 嘅，你每個星期咧都嚟廟見 Krishna。
Step number 2, give the first hour of every day to Krishna.
跟住咧就係話每日嘅第一個小時咧，你係俾咗 Krishna。
Chant rounds, read, do this on a daily basis.
你念誦啦，或者係閱讀經典啦，每日都咁樣做。
Step number 3, always give the first plate to Krishna. Offer your food at home.
第三咧就係話你每日咧你第一碟嘅食物咧供奉俾 Krishna。
Then always give Krishna the first place in your decision making.
咁另外咧就係話你做任何決定咧都將 Krishna 擺喺第一位。
And then give Krishna the first place in your heart.
最後就係話將你心目中第一個位置亦都係俾咗 Krishna。
So the first regulation is associate. The second regulation is do some sadhana. The third regulation is do some lifestyle changes. And then gradually like this, you go bit by bit. So wherever you start, it's okay. And then progress step by step.
Very long.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Can you repeat?
Yes,
First.
I'm the essence. I just went around and
Okay.
You can just say the essence is
The first.
start with some regulation
咁
and
我哋
then
開始，
develop it over time.
咁我哋就開始咧就係要好有規律先啦，每日都做一
Four
啲嘅規
basic
範守則。
things, A, B, C, D. Association,
係啊，第一個就係聯誼啦，同奉獻者
Books
聯誼；第二樣就係要讀書啦、睇書啦、
chanting,
念誦啦。
diet.
然後咧第三就係、
Just make this a part of your day-to-day life.
我哋嘅食物，咁
Every
係每
day,
日都做嘅要。
every day associate with devotees,
每日我哋都要同奉獻者聯誼，
either on the phone or whatever it may
或
be.
者透過電話啦，或者 Zoom 啦。
Every day read the books,
每日
something.
都要讀一啲經典，
Every day do some chanting.
每日都要念誦一啲，
And every day diet means offer your food to Krishna.
每日咧都係供奉一啲食物俾 Krishna。
As they say in English, it's not rocket science. Simple. Simple.
所以係好簡單嘅啫，唔係一啲咁高深嘅科學嚟嘅。
And those who are so-called senior devotees, they're doing the same thing.
嗰啲所謂嘅即係資深奉獻者咧，佢哋都係做緊同一樣嘢。
Is that okay?
I want to ask about sadhu sangha relationship with devotees. Because sometimes with devotees, we meet each other in the temple. We know each other for many years. We've come together, and right now we're sitting so close. Externally, it seems like we're so close, but in our heart, it feels like we're so disconnected. So, what is the cause, and how can we solve this?
咁頭先講到我哋要同奉獻者聯誼啦。咁但係我哋好多時即係奉獻者周圍，我哋有好多已經識咗好耐㗎啦，好多年㗎啦。咁譬如而家咁，我哋坐埋喺度聽講課、聽經，我哋好似外在嚟講，我哋好似好親近咁樣。但係我哋內心咧，其實就即係唔係咁親近啊。咁我哋點樣可以解決呢個問題咧？
So you develop a relationship with someone not just because you are physically close to them.
我哋同人哋去建立一種關係咧，唔係因為我哋個軀體同佢好接近。
Dadati pratigranati guyam akyati prachati bhukte bhojayate chaiva sadvida priti lakshanam. Rupa Goswami says there are certain activities that if you perform with others, then they become loving exchanges which bring you closer together.
咁 Rupa Goswami 咧就列咗一啲嘅活動啦，佢就話：如果你做呢啲即係恆常做呢啲活動嘅話咧，我哋就會同其他人咧係培養到一啲嘅愛嘅關係。
Dadati pratigranati, give each other gifts. Gifts doesn't just mean something physical, but show your kindness towards each other by helping each other.
咁第一樣就係話我哋俾出禮物人啦，係啦。咁呢個禮物唔一定係物質嘅禮物嘅，或者我哋對人友善啊、幫助人啊，咁呢一種已經係一種付出，呢種都係一種禮物嚟嘅啦。
Cook, make food and offer prasad to each other and eat together.
咁我哋煮一啲食物，然後供奉俾神像，然後一齊去分享。
It's said that cows who eat grass together give more milk.
咁有個言語咧就話，嗰啲牛隻咧，嗰啲乳牛咧，如果係一齊咁去食草咧，呢啲牛咧就會有更多嘅乳汁嘅。
Guyam akyati prachati, talk to each other and reveal something that's in your heart to each other.
咁我哋同人交流啦、交談啦，就係敞開你嘅心扉，去同人哋分享你嘅內心。
Sometimes in the temple we don't even know the names of the other people who are here.
有陣時喺廟咧，我哋甚至都唔知對方個名嘅。
Oh, that devotee.
咁你只係講話咧嗰個奉獻者啊。
It's very impersonal, and the impersonalism can also come within our own communities.
咁樣嘅做法咧係好非人格咯。咁呢種非人格咧都會即係入侵我哋個廟宇。
So we should really show that this is the United Nations of the spiritual world, that we come here and we actually connect with each other and have meaningful relationships.
咁所以我哋個協會咧都應該係一個即係好似聯合國咁樣咧，我哋走埋一齊啦，我哋係應該係即係互相係建立一種關係，去即係建立一種友誼嘅關係。
Once a devotee went and he took Srila Prabhupada's birth information to an astrologer.
咁有一奉獻者咧，將聖爸爸嗰個出生嗰個命盤咧，去俾一啲嘅占星家去睇。
So then he came back to Srila Prabhupada and he said, he did your chart,
咁佢就
astrological chart.
咁佢就去聖爸爸就話俾聖爸爸聽，佢話我俾你個命盤去俾嗰啲占星家睇。
So Prabhupada said, what did he say?
咁聖爸爸就問啦，佢點講啊？
The devotee said, Prabhupada, he looked at your chart and he was amazed. He said, this man has the ability to build a house in which the whole world can live.
咁佢就同奉獻者，呢個占星家就同奉獻者講，佢話咧呢個人咧係可以咧係起一間屋咧，係全世界嘅人都可以入去居住。
So Prabhupada said, that's a fact.
咁聖爸爸咧就話啦，呢個係事實。
That is my mission. That is what I want to do.
呢個係我嘅使命嚟嘅。
So ISKCON first has to be a home. This is family.
所以我哋要視 ISKCON 咧係我哋嘅家，我哋係一個大家庭嚟嘅。
Not just an office, but actually we understand each other, we appreciate each other.
咁呢個唔係單單好似辦公室咁啊！我哋喺裏邊咧，我哋係要互相認識啦，互相了解。
I'm working as a personal trainer, and one of my clients or my students, they come from a well-off family. So how do I spread Christian
Well-off family?
Yeah, people of the upper level. So how do I spread Christian consciousness to them?
咁我嘅工作咧就係訓練人嘅trainer。咁我嘅學生咧好大部分咧都係有錢人嚟嘅。咁我點樣可以將 Krishna 知覺咧係即係傳授俾佢哋咧
？Whenever you want to communicate Krishna consciousness to someone, the question you need to ask yourself is, what are their needs, what are their interests, and what are their concerns?
咁我哋去傳播 Krishna 知覺嘅時候咧，我哋要知道對方咧佢哋嘅需要係乜嘢，佢哋關注啲乜嘢。
If you know these things, then you can present something from Krishna consciousness that will relate to them in their stage of life, according to what they're looking for.
咁所以如果我哋知道佢關注啲乜嘢，佢哋需要啲乜嘢，咁我哋先至知道喺 Krishna 知覺裏邊，我哋俾啲乜嘢佢哋，然後咧令到佢哋覺得咧呢樣嘢係有用嘅、有意思嘅。
So unless we take the time to understand people, we won't be able to communicate with them appropriately.
咁除非我哋係會放一啲時間嚟去明白人哋嘅需要咧。否則咧，我哋係好難同人溝通到。
When Srila Prabhupada came to America, he said, for 2 months I was just observing the people.
聖爸爸咧就講，佢話佢嚟到美國嘅時候咧，頭嗰2個月咧，佢只係喺度觀察啲人。
So whatever anyone is looking for, Krishna consciousness can help them. But first you have to know what people are looking for.
咁其實唔理任何人，佢哋係找尋啲乜嘢咧 ，Krishna 知覺咧都會俾到佢嘅。咁所以咧，你最重要就係知道佢哋想揾啲乜嘢。
The second thing is you need to understand the scriptures more and more deeply, and then you will be able to understand what knowledge is relevant for them.
咁跟住咧，你就係要進一步認識經典，認識得深一啲、深層一啲嘅意思，咁你先至能夠有足夠嘅知識咧，嚟去滿足對方嘅需要。
Yes.
How do you know who is your spiritual master?
How do you know who's your spiritual master?
你點可以知道邊個係你嘅靈性導師
The first thing is that we don't just have one spiritual master. First thing is that we can learn from everyone.
首先咧，我哋就唔好淨係諗住我哋有一位靈性導師。我哋首先咧就要學習，從所有人身上學習。
When you come to a community, there are so many sincere devotees. So learn from everyone. Be inspired by many.
咁所以你嚟到廟咧，你就要向每一個人去喺佢身上面學習一啲嘢，係透過佢哋咧得到唔同嘅啟示啊、靈感啊、鼓舞啊。
Second step is that one must first become qualified as a disciple. It will never become clear to you who your spiritual master is if first you are not qualified as a disciple yourself. Why will Krishna reveal it to you?
咁跟住咧，你就要讓自己成為一個有資格嘅門徒先。咁如果你未有資格嘅時候咧 ，Krishna 點會俾一個靈性導師你？
And then the third step is that once you've qualified yourself, then you pray to Krishna and you hear from all the Vaishnavas. And one Vaishnava will stand out.
當你係已經有資格嘅時候咧 ，Krishna 你就去接觸唔同嘅愛士喇嘛，聽佢哋嘅講課。咁 Krishna 咧就會展示俾你睇邊一個係你靈性導師。
There will be one Vaishnava who inspires you to surrender. One Vaishnava who gives you all the answers to your questions, sometimes even before you ask them. And there will be one Vaishnava who, when they speak, you feel as though Krishna is speaking to you. That will become very clear to you.
咁呢一位靈性導師咧，就係當你聽佢講課嘅時候咧，你係好有啟發性嘅，然後咧就跟住咧，你就會喺你有問題嘅時候咧，佢就會答到你嘅，甚至咧你未問嗰條問題咧，佢已經答咗你嘅啦，喺佢嘅講課裏邊。
So in summary, step number 1, hear from many devotees and accept many shiksha gurus.
首先咧就係第一點咧就係話要聆聽接觸所有嘅奉獻者。
Step number 2, qualify yourself as a disciple by becoming serious.
咁第二跟住嘅步驟咧就係話讓自己成為一個有資格嘅門徒。
And then step number 3, listen carefully and find that person who speaks to your heart.
然後咧就好小心咁樣去聆聽唔同嘅資深嘅靈性導師啦，然後就揾出邊一個咧係觸動到你嘅心靈嘅。
Krishna is on your side. He wants you to go back to Godhead. Why will he not send all the help? But we have to become sincere.
咁 Krishna 係喺你內心噶嘛？如果你係夠真誠嘅時候咧，佢係一定會幫你嘅。
Okay, it's 12:30. Should we finish now?
Now you have something to continue actually?
This goes on for many slides. This was just the first 3 slides. There's many more.
You can speak a little bit, 15 minutes more, then you can end.
There's also hand, so shall I take questions instead?
Up to you.
Yeah, because if I open it up, it's quite like the next topic is requiring more explanation. So
咁仲有冇題目？仲有冇問題啊？
maybe last few questions.
可以再問多幾條問題啊。
Okay.
Maharaj, I have a question regarding so when you want to clean the heart. So
Louder please.
yeah, sure. So usually when, for example, in the process of cleaning the heart, ego or personal emotions usually get in the way. So for example, like what Mataji had said, asked before as well, but when emotions are affecting someone very close to you, let's say someone says something very negative about you or about someone or something you hold very dear. So emotions, anger, ego, these emotions get in the way. So how do you suppress or how should you deal with it when you're facing that type of predicament, basically?
咁喺第4個階段，我哋淨化我哋啲內心嘅時候咧，好多時我啲情緒都會受到干擾嘅。譬如話，有人講一啲嘢，或者講一啲就算唔係對自己有批評啦，或者對你喜歡嘅人有一啲嘅批評嘅時候啦，就騷擾咗你個內心啊。咁跟住咧，你所有嗰啲憤怒啊，或者係你嘅假我啊，你嘅嫉妒咧就走晒出嚟嘅呢啲情緒。咁我哋係有咩方法可以係即係克服
The first thing is when you feel a very strong emotion coming in your consciousness, the very first thing to do is do nothing.
咁首先咧，當你嘅情緒受到干擾嘅時候啦，你第一樣最緊要做嘅嘢咧，就係乜都唔好做。
Most emotions are just coming for some time, and we don't need to take every emotion so seriously.
有陣時我哋嘅情緒咧，只係剎那間出現嘅啫，所以有啲情緒咧，我哋係唔一定要去處理佢嘅。
Therefore, the very first instruction that Krishna gives in the Gita, Matra Sparshas tu Konteya Sitoshna Sukadukada Agama Payino Nityas Tam Titikshashva Bharata. Just titikshva, become tolerant. Just don't do anything.
所以 Krishna 喺《博家梵歌》咧有個詩節都教我哋咧，就係話要忍耐，要忍受。
So this helps because oftentimes once we let the emotion settle, then we realize it's okay. I don't need to do anything with this.
所以咧，當你係即係靜止落嚟嘅時候咧，讓你嘅情緒咧係穩定落嚟之後咧，你都發覺其實你已經過去咗啦，我都唔需要做任何嘢。
But then the higher thing is that one has to develop knowledge, spiritual intelligence.
但係如果更高一個層面嘅時候咧，就係話我哋要有知識啊，我哋要培養我哋嘅靈性嘅知識。
Krishna says higher than matter is the senses. Higher than the senses is the mind. Higher than the mind is intelligence. And higher than the intelligence is the soul.
咁 Krishna 講啦，佢話喺物質之上咧就係我哋嘅感官啦，喺感官之上咧就係我哋嘅心意，喺心意之上咧就係我哋嘅智性，再喺智性之上咧就係我哋嘅靈魂。
So there is something above the emotions that you can utilize and awaken to control your emotions.
咁所以當我哋有情緒出現嘅時候咧，我哋嘅內心有更高嘅層面咧，係可以令到我哋控制到我哋嘅情緒。
And that's the intelligence which has been spiritualized by transcendental knowledge.
咁呢個咧就係我哋嘅智慧，我哋嘅智慧透過咧，我哋係得到呢個靈性嘅知識咧，係可以咧係控制到我哋嘅情緒。
So therefore, those who take the time to study scripture, then what happens is they become much more steady in their consciousness.
咁所以如果我哋放一啲時間去睇一啲靈性嘅知識嘅書本咧，我哋嘅意識咧係更容易咧係得到控制。
Krishna says in the Gita, Dukeshu anudvigna manaha sukeshu vigataspriha vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadhir muniruchate. Krishna says, you can become a sage of the steady mind if you become free from vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Raga means attachment, bhaya means fear, and krodha means anger. So these three things spiritual knowledge can free you from: fear, attachment, and anger.
咁我哋有靈性知識咧，就能夠幫助我哋咧係消除我哋嘅恐懼啦，我哋嘅依附啦，同埋我哋嘅憤怒。
Okay. Okay.
I want to ask something that maybe devotees are afraid to ask, because you mentioned about we should talk, we should reveal ourselves.
Yes.
I want to ask about leadership. So I want to, because some devotees now becoming more choosy. Like if I don't like you, I don't want to work with you because I don't like you. You're admitting that you're not qualified. So my question is, would it be okay to create a system in ISKCON where devotees can recommend someone? Maybe they feel like maybe this one can do better. Because they say this devotee already tried managing a temple, but really not much happening. So because some devotees they're scared to speak out, maybe for the sake of, maybe because sometimes we heard that you shouldn't offend anyone, we should be respectful and appreciate everyone's service. But sometimes it can also happen that maybe this devotee already trying, managing the temple or leading the yatra, but really not much happening. Would it be okay to create a system, or I don't know if I'm asking the right question, but the devotees may recommend someone maybe, or who's the right person to recommend someone or make some changes, just to help the yatra, not to criticize someone, but just to help the yatra.
Yes, very, very long. So basically,
he's asking if we feel that there are others who could also be in leadership positions, then is there some system where we can recommend such people so that the whole yatra can improve?
OK， 咁就係有關管理嘅嗰方面嘅，咁就係話如果管理得唔係太好嘅話咧，咁有冇一個機制，我哋可以推薦另外一啲人去做呢個管理，令到呢個我哋個廟嗰個發展咧係會更加好。
This is many dimensions to this topic, leadership.
咁呢個題目咧，其實係可以從好多方面去討論嘅。
Okay, first perspective is that it's not easy to be a leader.
咁首先講咧就係話做一個領袖咧唔係咁容易嘅。
We have all been in leadership positions, many of us, and we know that sometimes if you do this, someone will criticize you, and if you do the complete opposite, someone will also criticize you.
咁我哋對即係喺領導層有經驗嘅人咧，都知道咧譬如有人批評你，咁於是咧你就用另一個方法做，咁你用另外一個方法做咧，亦都有人批評你嘅。咁所以幾時咧，你喺邊個角度去做咧，都會有人批評。
One time there was a young man with his father and a horse. So they were walking through one village. All of them were walking. And then at the end of the village, everyone was criticizing. These guys are such fools. One of them could sit on the horse and relax, and they're just all walking.
咁有一個故事就係話，有兩父子咧就拖住隻馬，咁就行，咁三者都喺度行，即係父子又行，隻馬就係咁行。咁去到一個村落咧，啲人就批評呢兩父子啦。佢係佢咁蠢嘅，其實其中一個可以坐上隻馬度噶嘛。
So in the next village, the father told the son, "You sit on the horse." So they walked through, and then at the end of the village, they were criticizing. Just see this young boy. He's on the horse, young and healthy, while his father walks.
咁所以咧，呢兩父子就一路行啦。咁去到另一個村落咧，個父親咧就同個兒子講：不如你坐上隻馬度啦。咁於是佢哋就一路行到另外一個村咧，啲人又批評佢。佢話：你睇下呢個做兒子嘅真係不孝啊！佢自己就坐喺隻馬度，俾個父親年老嘅父親就喺呢度要行路。
So that in the next village, the young boy told the father, "You sit on the horse, I'll walk." And at the end of that village, they were criticizing. Just see this old man, he is supposed to be protecting the child, and he's sitting while he's standing.
咁所以咧喺下一個村落，個兒子咧就話：嗱，咁而家咧就由父親坐啦，個仔就行啦。咁好啦，行咗一個村，去到嗰個村嘅時候咧，嗰啲村民又喺度批評咯喎：你睇下呢個父親啦，點樣對個仔㗎？佢自己坐喺嗰隻馬度，個細路仔咧就要行喎。
So then in the next village, they were thinking, what do we do? If we all walk, we get criticized. If he goes on top, we get criticized. If I go on top, we get criticized. They thought, maybe we should just hold the horse.
咁所以咧，呢兩父子咧就唔知點好啦。佢話點咧？我哋如果個仔坐又俾人批評，個爸爸坐又俾人批評，咁我哋不如咧，我哋兩個舉起隻馬啦。
So a few people also criticize that as well. This is leadership. Whatever you do, someone will always have a criticism. This is one perspective. Now I share.
所以我講呢一個角度咧，就係話做領導就係咁樣噶啦。你點樣做咧，都係有唔同嘅批評嘅聲音。
But then, yes, we need more and more leaders in the Krishna consciousness movement. We want everyone to have an opportunity to take responsibility.
咁冇錯，但係喺 Krishna 之國裏邊，其實我哋係需要好多好多嘅領袖嘅，即係領導嘅。我哋亦都希望咧係訓練唔同嘅人咧係做呢個領導嘅角色嘅。
Srila Prabhupada was so empowering. He took young people and he made them temple presidents. He made them GBCs. He gave them the opportunity, men and ladies, to go and do wonderful things for Krishna.
咁所以聖巴巴咧係佢本身係好有力量啦，佢亦都賦予力量俾佢當時嗰啲嘅年青人啦，男男女女啦，都讓佢哋咧去開始一啲廟宇啊，去做一啲領導嘅工作啊，咁佢哋都可以做到一啲好出色嘅表現。
So yes, if there are young devotees or creative devotees in the yatra and they're steady, they're cultured, they're cooperative, then we should try to empower them to do beautiful things for Krishna.
咁所以廟咧係有好多年青人啦。咁如果佢哋係好收集得好穩定啦，亦都有一定嘅程度嘅收集。咁其實我哋係應該俾多啲年青人咧去做呢啲角色咧，係讓佢哋為係聖巴巴為 ISKCON 做更多嘅即係好備好嘅成績嘅。
But Prabhu, I'll tell you one thing. From my small experience in leadership, I'll share with you one thing.
咁我可以講少少我做領導嘅時候一啲嘅經驗。
Leadership is based on influence.
咁其實領導或者領袖咧係基於你嘅影響力嘅。
Influence is based on relationships.
而你嘅影響力咧就係建基喺你嘅關係嗰度。
And relationships are based on selfless love.
而呢個關係咧，亦都係基於咧你係無私嘅愛啊。
My experience is that sometimes the most powerful leaders are the leaders who didn't have any title.
我有陣時發覺咧，最有力量嘅領導咧，嗰啲人係冇任何嘅位置嘅。
But by their selflessness and their love, they developed very powerful relationships, and with those relationships they had a natural influence, and with that they were able to lead without a title.
咁透過佢一啲人嘅無私嘅愛咧，佢就會有好大嘅好嘅關係。咁當佢即係同奉獻者有好嘅關係，咁當佢同奉獻者有好嘅關係咧，佢就好有影響力。
Actually, you'll know that you're really a leader when people follow you even before you get the title.
咁你點樣知道自己係好嘅領袖咧？就係話有啲人係會跟隨你啊，佢哋跟隨你，就算你係冇任何嘅位置度。
Because real leadership is an affair of the heart. It's not just an institutional stamp.
所以真正嘅領導咧，真正嘅領袖咧，其實就係一件內心嘅工作嚟㗎，係唔需要給圖章話你係邊一種嘅職位。
But at the same time, yes, we want to have more and more leaders coming up. So anyway, I'm trying to cover all the big topic. So I'm trying to give you all the different angles in like 3 minutes, whatever I can give you. This is a long topic. Yes.
咁呢個其實係一個好大嘅題目嚟嘅。咁我嘗試用3分鐘咧，就即係融合晒呢各方面嘅要點。
All right, last one then.
好，最後一條問題啊。
Maybe 1, 2. Okay, yeah, go.
Maharaja, you mentioned how that we must show up. And,
Must show up, yes.
Yeah, and make a consistent commitment
Yes.
to make a contribution. Why is it so difficult to do that? Why is it that we like sometimes just we're not maybe
Probably
sure
because we
why?
haven't found something which has moved us deeply.
咁頭先就Maharaja講到話，我哋要 即係要出現啦，要做一啲嘢啦。點解係咁難呢？呢樣嘢
？You have to find something that moves your heart, something that's so important to you, something that you really believe in, and then you definitely will show up every single morning.
咁所以咧，你就首先要揾到一啲你係觸動到你心靈嘅，你係覺得嗰樣嘢好重要嘅。咁咧，
The best alarm clock in the world is purpose.
所以就讓你每日都會嚟廟啦。咁
Because
所以
when
你有個目標係好重要。
Because when you open your eyes and you have purpose, you'll jump out of bed. You definitely will show up. Because there's nothing more exciting and adventurous to do in life.
所以當你有個目標嘅時候咧，你覺得嗰樣嘢好重要嘅咧，你就一定會每日都嚟廟，因為呢樣嘢係生命裏邊最有冒險價值嘅嘢嚟嘅，亦都最有趣嘅。
Make your daydream your day job.
咁你嘗試咧，每日都做下白日夢。
Yeah, you can do it. You're young. You have a whole life ahead of you. You can make it meaningful. You have to do that. What moves you? What are you inspired? What difference do you want to make in the world? What do you want them to say at your funeral? Think about it.
你可以做到嘅，因為你仲年青啦，你有整個生命歷程嘅開始俾你去創造出嚟嘅。你想喺生裏邊係成就到啲咩咧？你想你喺你嘅喪禮上邊，人哋點樣去描繪你一生咧？所以你而家趁你年青，你可以做呢個決定。
All right. Yes. Last one maybe.
So Maharaji, being a
Grihastha.
yeah. So how do you bring the rest of the family into the fold? Because
With great difficulty.
Alone, so coming from a non-vegetarian household to people consuming alcohol. So if you give it up, then there is a lot of the family feels that they are losing you, or they are you are not part of the family anymore, and it becomes increasingly difficult to follow the path. So how do you progress?
咁作為一個居士咧，咁
making them happy and
作為一個居士咧，當我哋收集 Krishna 知覺嘅時候咧，我哋點樣將我哋嘅知識咧係即係引導佢哋？反而咧，而家我就會覺得佢哋覺得我係離，即係同屋企係脫咗節啊，即係越嚟越遠咁樣啊。咁我個家庭或者我從一個即係唔食素嘅家庭啊，或者仲有人飲酒啊咁樣，呢啲好多好複雜嘅問題咧，我係可以點樣做咧？
Be patient. It takes time. It takes time for them to adjust to your changing life. So be patient.
why
One
that
second.
they're going to lose you?
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. There, right?
所以首先就要有耐性咯，因為係唔容易嘅，要有時間嘅。佢哋而家真係感覺好似慢慢失去咗你咁。
Well, some of us took sannyas. So, I mean, they are losing you in one sense. It's because you're taking up a different lifestyle. Even if you're not going to take sannyas, they feel they're not going to be able to relate to you in the same way. It's a valid fear. Now, whether it's right or wrong, we'll come to that point, but it's valid. You are changing, and that is scary. First, we have to understand that, isn't it?
咁有一樣嘢好真實嘅就係話你改變緊，你係改變緊。佢哋驚失去你，其實呢個係事實嚟嘅，因為你將你嘅生活方式已經改變啦，已經同佢哋唔同啦。
So we have to empathize a little bit. That is scary for them, but we know this is right. We know this is the goal of life. So we have to carry on walking our path. But remember, Krishna consciousness is internal. No external limitation can impede your Krishna consciousness. I was mentioning this, sorry.
OK， 咁所以咧，你嘅改變對佢哋嚟講真係好得人驚嘅，佢哋真係好可怕嘅對佢哋嚟講。咁但係咧，呢樣嘢係真實嘅，即係你呢條路你係要去行嘅。
I mentioned this yesterday. Krishna played the flute. Shrimandra Sarasarambhi Vamshi Vatatatasvita Karshan Venu Svaner Gopi Gopinathaya Shrihe Sunaha. Krishna played the flute. Many gopis ran, but some gopis couldn't leave home because their husbands wouldn't let them. But those gopis that couldn't leave home, it's said that the fire of desperation which was ignited within their heart brought them heart to heart with Krishna. It's all perfect. Whichever situation Krishna puts us in is perfect for what we need to come closer to Him. Even if externally it feels like an obstacle. Sorry.
咁I translate first。咁 Krishna 咧係吹佢支笛啦，然後嗰啲無求姑娘咧就飛奔去同 Krishna 去見面啦。咁但係有一部分嘅無求姑娘就去唔到會 Krishna。咁佢哋就因為丈夫阻止，咁佢哋只能夠留喺屋企，就懷住絕望嘅心情啦。極度嘅絕望咧，佢哋呢種絕望嘅火啊，就焚燒佢哋咧，令到佢哋咧係呢種絕望嘅焚燒啊，令到佢哋同 Krishna 咧係好親近。咁所以 Krishna 係佢俾任何嘅處境我哋嘅時候咧，嗰種處境都係完美嘅。
Tomorrow, if all your family complexities were solved, everyone was completely supportive, and you could come to the temple freely and every program you wanted to come, do you think you'd magically be Krishna conscious?
嗱，你想象一下，如果聽日你所有屋企嘅問題解決晒，佢哋完全容許你隨時隨地幾時幾候嚟料都得，你就可以參與所有嘅活動。咁你估你聽日就係會唔會即刻有 Krishna 知覺咧
We may still find that we have a mind.
咁到時咧，你就會發覺你仲有你嘅心意存在喺度。
I'll just tell you one story to end today.
咁我最後講一個故事。
Once there was a king, and everyone was complaining to him, bringing their problems.
咁從前有一個皇帝啦，咁每個人咧都將佢哋嘅問題咧帶嚟皇帝呢度咧向佢投訴。
So the king said, "Today I'm setting up a gallery, and I want everyone to display all of their problems."
咁佢啊嗰日咧就話啦，嗱今日咧我就請你哋咧將你所有嘅問題咧就放喺我呢個嘅展覽室嗰度。
So everyone came and displayed their problems. And then they were all coming in looking at each other's problems.
咁佢哋入到嚟呢個展覽室咧，就喺度睇人哋嘅問題啦。
And then after looking at everyone's problems, everyone was walking out, and the king said, "Hey, hey, where are you all going?"
咁嗰啲人咧睇完晒人哋其他嘅人嘅問題嘅時候咧，就走啦。咁皇帝咧就即刻截住佢哋，你哋去邊度啊？你哋
The king said, "Everyone has to take one set of problems with them."
咁皇帝咧就下令咧，你哋每人咧都要攞一啲，即係攞一組嘅問題走。
So they started looking at each other's problems, this person's problems, this person's problems. Every single person said, "You know what? I'll take my problems and get out of here."
咁佢哋咧睇過晒所有在場嗰啲咁嘅即係問題之後咧，佢哋就攞翻自己嗰一組問題咧就走啦。
We think we have the hardest life, the biggest problems. Everyone has some problem in this world. Therefore, don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big God is.
所以咧，其實每個人都有佢嘅問題嘅，人人都有問題嘅。咁所以咧，你唔好話俾人聽咧，你嘅問題有幾大，而係咧話俾人聽咧，神係有幾大。
All right.
To improve our where we are. For
Gifts.
improvement. Give some few tips.
A few tips. That's what we've been discussing last 2 hours.
No, few more powerful tips.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, or Narottam Das Thakur says, Tadera charana sevi bhakta sanevas janama janame hoy e abhilas. Life after life, if you live with the Vaishnavas and you try to serve them with your heart, then your goal of life is achieved. Just try to serve the Vaishnavas with your heart.
咁 Narottam Das Thakur 咧，佢咁講，佢話一生復一生咧，係為愛士納雅服務，用你嘅心去為愛士納雅服務。咁所以咧，最大最有能量嘅 tips 咧，就係話服務愛士納雅，用我哋嘅心去服務愛士納雅。
All right. Thank you so much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti vaishnavendra ki jai. Vaishnav seva. Vaishnav sangha ki jai.
Before Prashad,
Nitai, Gaur Premanande,